Hello, everyone. Today, let's talk about one of the greatest mysteries of our planet. Just how deep is the ocean? About 70% of Earth's surface is covered by oceans, and a whopping 96% of all the water on our planet is seawater. So really, Earth can be called a water world. But here's the twist. Despite living right next to it, humans know surprisingly little about the ocean. In fact, we've only explored about 5% of it. That's about the same as we know about the universe. Now, let's put things into perspective. The average depth of the ocean is about 3,680 meters. That's roughly the same as the depth of the Grand Canyon. By contrast, the average height of land above sea level is only around 860 meters. So compared to the land we walk on, the ocean is much deeper, vaster, and more mysterious. But the real jaw-dropper? The deepest part of the ocean, the Mariana Trench. It plunges down more than 11,000 meters. To give you an idea, it's way taller than Mount Everest. If you placed Everest inside the trench, there would still be about 2 kilometers of water above its peak. So, are you ready? Because from here on, we're diving down into the unknown. First stop, 3 meters. That's about as deep as most of us go when swimming. Shallow, safe, and full of sunlight. This is the zone where humans feel most at home in the water. Now let's sink down to 20 to 30 meters. Here we enter the world of coral reefs. Underwater cities built by tiny creatures, bursting with colorful fish and swaying plants. This is where life thrives in dazzling variety. A kind of downtown district of the ocean. Next, we head deeper to 40 meters. This is the limit for most recreational scuba divers. Beyond this depth, things start to get tricky. The human body struggles, joints ache, your head spins, and you feel symptoms almost like altitude sickness on a mountaintop. Strange, isn't it? Go too far up or too far down, and our bodies protest in eerily similar ways. Down we go to 60 meters. This is the depth of the world's deepest swimming pool, Deep Dive Dubai, in the United Arab Emirates. Certified by Guinness World Records, it plunges 60 meters straight down and holds between 14 to 14.6 million liters of fresh water. That's about the same as 6 Olympic-sized swimming pools stacked together. Imagine diving there. It's like exploring a man-made ocean. Now, let's sink to 70 meters. At this depth, strange things begin to happen to the human mind. Hallucinations. Divers sometimes see things that aren't really there. And here's the fun fact. The whale shark, the largest fish in the world, often drifts around this level of the ocean. Gentle giants cruising in the deep blue. Next stop, 100 meters. This is the extreme edge of professional diving. Beyond here, it's a world humans almost never reach. But down here lives a true legend, the giant Pacific octopus. These creatures can grow up to 6 meters long, and they can change color like a living chameleon blanket. No wonder that in ancient times, sailors often mistook them for terrifying sea monsters. Down we go to 130 meters. Believe it or not, this is the depth where the deepest underwater wedding ever took place. In 2014, Japanese diver Hiroyuki Yoshida and American diver Sandra Smith tied the knot in an underwater cave at Songhong Lake, Thailand. 130 meters, or 426 feet below the surface. Their friend and diving instructor, Ben Raymonez, doubled as their officiant. Talk about a wedding with pressure. Now we descend to 200 meters. This marks the official start of the deep sea. Below this line, sunlight can no longer support photosynthesis, meaning no leafy green plants grow here. But it's not empty. At this depth, you might spot the mysterious oarfish, sometimes called the sea dragon king. These ribbon-like giants can grow over 10 meters long and are likely the origin of many sea serpent legends. And here's where the daredevils come in. Free divers, people who dive in a single breath. The current world record belongs to Australian diver Herbert Nish, who in 2007 descended an incredible 214 meters on just one breath. That's insane, because normally past 100 meters, the human body starts suffering from hallucinations. By 200 meters, the pressure can literally squash your organs, separating your lungs from your chest wall. Permanent damage territory. But Nish survived thanks to a unique technique, using the pressure to push his abdomen upward, bracing his lungs from collapse. Oh, and in case you're wondering about the breath holding, the world record for holding your breath underwater, in the ocean, is about 11 minutes. But in a swimming pool, a Danish free diver, Stig Severinsen, held his breath for an unbelievable 22 minutes and 22 seconds, though he did it after breathing pure oxygen first. Still, that's nearly half an episode of a TV show without breathing. Keep descending. 300 meters. At this depth, you'll bump into a crab you might actually recognize from your dinner plate. The giant spider crab. These creatures look straight out of a sci-fi movie. Tiny heads, absurdly long legs, and when fully stretched, their legs can span a reach of 4 meters. Imagine a crab as wide as a car, crawling around in the dark. But it's not just crabs here. Humans have also touched this depth, but only with help. Without equipment, the farthest a free diver has ever gone is 214 meters. With scuba gear, though, the deepest recorded dive is 332 meters, set in 2014 by Egyptian diver Ahmed Gamal Gar. Here's how it went. He descended to 332 meters in just 15 minutes, aiming for 350. But once he hit 332, he started blacking out and hallucinating. The crushing pressure messes with both body and brain. Realizing that he couldn't push further, he began the long journey back up. And when I say long, I mean it. The ascent took him 13 and a half hours. That's because when you breathe compressed gas at depth, your bloodstream fills with tiny gas bubbles. If you ascend too quickly, those bubbles expand, causing what divers call the bends. Best case, you suffer excruciating pain. Worst case, your body literally tears itself apart. Add oxygen toxicity to the mix, and you're risking permanent brain, spinal cord, and eye damage. So Ahmed had to inch upward at about 25 meters per hour, giving his lungs time to filter the gases out of his body. He was monitored by 30 staff members throughout the dive to keep him safe. His total dive? 14 hours. And honestly, that record will probably stand for a very, very long time. Nobody wants to risk exploding from the inside just to beat it. Oh, and by the way, most submarines, they hang out right here too, cruising between 300 and 500 meters below the surface. So at this depth, you're still likely to run into a giant crab as you are a submarine. Keep descending, 500 meters. Now, we've left the realm of humans. This is the kingdom of animals. Here swims the blue whale, the largest creature to have ever lived on Earth. Its maximum dive depth? About 500 meters. And not only is it massive in size, it's also loud. A blue whale's call can reach 188 decibels. That's louder than a jet engine. Even more incredible, those calls can travel up to 1,600 kilometers underwater. With a single bellow, a blue whale can summon its friends from halfway across the ocean. But whales aren't the only surprise here. At this depth, you'll also meet the emperor penguin, the heavyweight of the penguin world. These tuxedo divers can plunge over 500 meters with ease and stay down there for 10 minutes at a time. They are the most pressure-resistant birds on the planet. Keep descending 600 meters. Here lurks the ocean's strangest residence, the barrel-eye fish. Its head is completely transparent, like a dome of glass with two glowing green orbs inside. Those are its eyes. And here's the weird part. It can't look forward. Its eyes only point upward, scanning the water above for prey. Try to catch it and bring it to the surface? It won't survive. The sudden drop in pressure makes it literally explode. Keep descending, 700 meters. Welcome to the secret home of the European eel. You've probably seen it grilled on rice as unagi in Japanese cuisine. But surprise, eels don't just live in rivers. They spend half their lives in the sea, only swimming upstream when it's time to spawn. That's usually when humans catch them, and well, turn them into dinner. Keep descending, 900 meters. Welcome to the domain of the giant squid. These elusive titans can stretch over 10 meters long, with eyes the size of a human head, literally. You might think giant squids are rare, mysterious beasts that only pop up in sailors' legends. But actually, they're probably quite common. The only reason we hardly see them is because humans almost never venture this deep. Later on, I'll share a clue that proves just how many of these deep-sea giants might actually be out there. Keep descending, 1,000 meters. At this depth, you officially cross into the mesopelagic zone, the so-called twilight zone. But here's the truth. There's no twilight anymore. It's pitch black. Sunlight doesn't reach a single ray down here, and life begins to thin out. Only the hardest creatures can survive in this endless night. Keep descending, 1,300 meters. Now, you'll meet the heavyweight champion of the sea turtles, the leatherback. Unlike other turtles, its shell isn't hard. It's leathery and flexible, designed for deep dives. Leatherbacks crawl ashore to lay eggs on sandy beaches. But once that mission is done, they vanish back into the abyss, cruising through depths where few other reptiles dare. But turtles aren't the only residents here. Enter the nightmare of the deep, the goblin shark. With its eerie, elongated snout and pale, ghostly skin, it looks like something straight out of a horror movie. And its party trick? That terrifying jaw. Unlike most sharks, its jaws aren't fixed. It can launch them forward like a spring-loaded trap. Imagine you're a fish, minding your own business. Then suddenly, snap! Those teeth shoot out, grab you, and retract. If the bite doesn't kill you, the sheer shock might. Keep descending, 1,700 meters. And here, in the cold darkness, something surprisingly adorable appears. The southern elephant seal. Yes, a seal. Just like the ones you've seen basking on beaches, except this is the largest seal on Earth. The males are massive, tipping the scales at nearly 5 tons and stretching up to 7 meters long. Their name comes from their oversized noses, which look a little goofy, but serve as a badge of dominance. These deep-diving giants can plunge all the way down here, vanishing into the inky water in search of fish and squid. Imagine something the size of a minivan, but chubby, whiskered, and somehow adorable. Keep descending, 2,000 meters. Now, the cute factor vanishes, and the nightmare begins. Enter the black dragonfish, a creature so bizarre it feels like it was cast straight out of a sci-fi horror film. Jet black with long, needle-like teeth that look eerily similar to the fanged grin of Venom. This fish is the definition of terrifying. And it has a clever hunting trick. Dangling from its chin is a glowing lure, like a built-in fishing rod tipped with a light bulb. In the pitch-black waters, unsuspecting prey are drawn to the glow, only to be ambushed and devoured by this alien-looking predator. If the ocean were a haunted house, the black dragonfish would be the jump scare. Keep descending. 3,000 meters. Now, we've entered the deep sea zone. Down here, the water is barely 1 to 2 degrees Celsius. There's no trace of sunlight, and the pressure is more than 300 times what we feel at the surface. At this crushing depth, fish become rare, but one enormous titan still roams these black waters: the sperm whale. The sperm whale is the heavyweight champion of diving. No other whale can go deeper. It can hold its breath for over an hour at a time, plunging down here with a single gulp of air. And what's it looking for? Its favorite prey, the giant squid. This is where the epic battles happen. Imagine a whale the size of a bus squaring off against a squid with arms as long as trucks. How do we know giant squids are actually common? By checking the stomachs of sperm whales. Their bellies are filled with squid beaks, the only hard parts of the squid that can't be digested. Scientists estimate that sperm whales around the world eat about 5 million giant squid every year. If they're eating that many, you can imagine how many are lurking in the depths. And here's a fun fact. The name sperm whale comes from something found in its stomach. When squid beaks get tangled up with the whale's digestive juices, they sometimes form a waxy lump called ambergris. This substance can give off a sweet, musky scent that lasts for centuries. Long ago, it was more valuable than gold, used by royalty in perfumes and even as medicine. The deep sea, pitch black, ice cold, and full of secrets. But for the sperm whale, it's the perfect hunting ground. Keep descending. 3,800 meters. And here, resting silently on the ocean floor, lies one of the most famous ships in history, the Titanic. In 1912, it sank to this very depth. More than a century has passed, and it still remains there, untouched. It has even been declared a World Underwater Cultural Heritage Site, meaning it can't be salvaged. So if you're dreaming of visiting the Titanic, well, tough luck. The closest you'll get is through film or photos. Director James Cameron, who made the movie Titanic, has actually been down here 33 times in submersibles. Talk about dedication. Now down to 4,000 meters. Here lurks the viperfish, with its needle-like fangs, longer than most fish's entire head. It looks like something straight out of a horror movie. But in the deep sea, food is so scarce that when the viperfish gets a chance to bite, it cannot let go. Those oversized teeth are its insurance policy. Once caught, prey isn't going anywhere. Keep going, 6,000 meters. Welcome to the Hadal Zone, the ultra-deep trenches of the Earth. Only the toughest machines and creatures can survive here. In 1989, Japan sent down a submersible called Shinkai 6500, which reached 6,500 meters. Then in 2012, China's Zhaolong went even further, diving an astonishing 7,000 meters. These record-breaking descents show just how mysterious and unexplored this world still is. Keep sinking. 8,178 meters. This is, as far as we know, the deepest home of fish on Earth. In April 2017, a Chinese deep-sea expedition spotted a ghostly white fish swimming at about 8,150 meters. Just a few months later, in August, a Japanese team found what looked like the exact same fish in the very same spot. Who knows? Maybe it's the same one. The Japanese researchers even tossed down some shrimp as an offering, and the little fish darted over to feast. Probably the best meal it ever had in its life. This mysterious creature still doesn't have a formal scientific name. For now, it goes by the nickname Mariana snailfish. Could it go deeper? Are there fish living even farther down? For now, that's a question the ocean still keeps to itself. Now descending to 10,660 meters. Here, scientists discovered something bizarre. A giant, single-celled organism called a xenophyophore. Don't let the single-cell part fool you. This one cell can grow up to 20 centimeters long. Imagine one enormous cell, the size of a dinner plate. Primitive life from hundreds of millions of years ago might have looked a lot like this. Down here in the crushing dark, it still survives. A living time capsule from Earth's ancient past. Keep going. 11,000 meters. Welcome to the Challenger Deep, the very bottom of the Mariana Trench, the deepest known place on our planet's ocean. At this depth, the water pressure is over 1,000 times greater than at the surface. If you were somehow dropped here without protection, you'd be crushed instantly, like a soda can under a hydraulic press. This astonishing depth was first measured back in the 1950s. But here's the fun part. Sonar at the time could only measure down to about 1,000 or 2,000 meters. So how did they figure it out? They literally dropped bombs into the trench. When the bombs exploded, the sound waves bounced back, and scientists analyzed the echoes to estimate the depth. High-tech 1950s style. And yet, life still exists here. Scientists have discovered tiny shrimp-like creatures, bacteria, and microorganisms living in this extreme darkness. They survive by feeding on chemical energy from the Earth's crust, or on scraps of organic matter that drift down from above, like marine snow. So far, only 4 people in all of human history have ever been down here, fewer than the number of people who've walked on the moon. The first 2 were in 1960. U.S. Navy Lieutenant Don Walsh and Swiss oceanographer Jacques Piccard. They squeezed into a deep-sea submersible called the Trieste and spent 5 hours descending into the abyss, finally reaching a depth of 10,916 meters. They didn't stay long. Soon after touching the bottom, they spotted a crack in the window and had to head back up. But before leaving, they reported seeing something astonishing: a flatfish and even some shrimp. The next visitor didn't arrive until 2012, when filmmaker James Cameron, yes, the director of Titanic and Avatar, dove solo in a submersible funded by National Geographic and Rolex. He spent over 2 hours on the sea floor. According to Cameron, the bottom looked like a lunar landscape, barren and desolate. He only spotted a few tiny shrimp about 3 centimeters long. No fish this time. Finally, in 2019, American private equity investor and explorer Victor Vescovo became the latest person to dive to the Challenger Deep. He went even deeper than his predecessors, reaching 10,928 meters. But what did he find? Not fish, not shrimp, just plastic bags and trash. Imagine the deepest point on Earth, littered with human garbage. Think about it. In 1960, there were fish and shrimp. In 2012, only shrimp. By 2019, just trash. If this trend keeps up, the next expedition may find nothing at all. Here's the bigger picture. Exploring the ocean is just as important as exploring space. It helps us understand the limits of life. We already know that living things can survive without sunlight, but not without water. Over 94% of all known life forms on Earth are aquatic. And even land animals like us need water to survive. No water, no life. Interestingly, scientists have discovered microorganisms that can go into a kind of suspended animation when deprived of water. No metabolism, no signs of life. But give them a single drop of water, and they spring back to life instantly. And that's where we'll stop our dive today. From corals to giant squids to the Challenger Deep itself, the ocean is full of mysteries. For now, let's all do what every living creature needs. Go grab a glass of water